Have you ever considered that the most important question you've been asking your entire life might also be the one destroying your peace? Long before you were old enough to question anything, an idea was quietly planted in your mind. You were told that you were born for a reason, that somewhere in the future, a purpose was waiting to be discovered, that every disappointment, every loss, every moment of suffering would eventually make sense. So you grew up believing that life was a search, and that your value depended on finding the answer before time ran out. But what if that promise was never anything more than a comforting illusion? Look back for a moment. How many years have you spent believing that real life would begin only after you discovered who you were supposed to become? How many opportunities slipped away because you were convinced you hadn't found your true calling? How many sleepless nights were spent fearing that you were living the wrong life? Perhaps the greatest trap was never the absence of meaning, but the belief that meaning had to be found somewhere else. The moment you become convinced that fulfillment exists in a distant future, the present becomes nothing more than a waiting room. Every day feels incomplete. Every achievement feels temporary. Every answer gives birth to another question. The horizon keeps moving farther away, no matter how much ground you cover. The unsettling truth is that existence has never explained itself. The silence was always there. It was we who filled it with stories, expectations, and promises, unable to endure the possibility that some questions may never receive an answer. So what if the need to find meaning is not the path to freedom, but the prison itself? What if you've spent your entire life digging for a hidden truth, never realizing that every shovel of certainty only buried you deeper? Because searching for meaning can be like digging your own grave. The deeper you dig in search of a final answer, the farther you drift from the only place life has ever existed. This moment. No animal wakes up wondering whether its life has meaning. A bird does not question the purpose of its song. A wolf does not stare into the night, wondering if it has chosen the right path. A deer does not lose sleep over whether its existence matters. They simply exist. They move, eat, flee, rest, and die, carrying no burden beyond the present moment. Humans are different. Somewhere along the path of evolution, consciousness became something far more dangerous than awareness. It became the ability to imagine futures that do not exist, to relive pasts that cannot be changed, and to ask questions with no final answers. What may have begun as an advantage slowly became a sentence. The sharper the mind, the more invisible prisons it can build. Every uncertainty demands an explanation. Every silence begs to be filled. The mind cannot tolerate emptiness, so it creates stories. It invents identities, ambitions, beliefs, and lifelong missions, hoping that one of them will finally quiet the restless feeling lurking beneath the surface. Yet it rarely does. A person spends 40 years believing happiness waits behind a promotion, a marriage, a fortune, or a dream achieved after endless sacrifice. They finally arrive. The celebration fades. Life returns to ordinary rhythms, and the same quiet emptiness remains, untouched by success. The achievement was never the missing piece. The emptiness simply changed its disguise. Soon, another goal appears, another promise, another destination that claims to hold the answer. The cycle repeats, not because fulfillment is just beyond the horizon, but because the mind has learned to survive by chasing horizons that retreat with every step. Perhaps the greatest burden of being human is not suffering itself. Perhaps it is possessing a consciousness incapable of accepting that some voids cannot be conquered, only endlessly pursued. The universe never promised meaning. Nature never promised justice. Time never promised happiness. Those promises were written by human hands, not by reality itself. From the moment we begin to expect life to reward our efforts with purpose, fulfillment, or fairness, disappointment becomes inevitable. Every expectation quietly creates a future that reality has no obligation to deliver. And when reality refuses, suffering is born. The more convinced someone becomes that a final answer exists, the harder they chase it. Yet every step forward only reveals another horizon. A father spends his entire life working endless hours so his children can have the future he never had. He tells himself there will be time to rest later, time to travel later, time to truly live later. Then one day, his body gives up before his dreams do, and the life he postponed remains forever unfinished. A woman sacrifices decades waiting for the perfect moment to be happy, when the career is stable, when the family is complete, when the house is paid for, when everything finally falls into place. But life keeps inventing new conditions, and happiness remains trapped in a tomorrow that never becomes today. A young man convinces himself that the anxiety consuming him will disappear as soon as he discovers his true purpose. He reads, searches, compares himself with others, believing clarity is only one revelation away. Instead, every answer produces another question, and every certainty dissolves into fresh uncertainty. Nothing changes, not because these people lacked determination, but because the emptiness they were trying to escape was never waiting outside them. The mind transformed uncertainty into a wound, and then spent a lifetime searching for the cure it had imagined. Perhaps that is the quiet tragedy of being human. We do not merely experience the void, we create it, feed it with expectations, and then spend our lives mistaking its echo for the voice of destiny. There comes a moment when every question reaches its limit, not because it has been answered, but because nothing answers back. Stand beneath a clear night sky long enough, and something unsettling begins to emerge. Billions of stars burn across the darkness with unimaginable precision, yet none of them exists to comfort you. They do not explain themselves. They do not justify your suffering. They do not whisper that everything will be all right. They simply exist, indifferent to every hope humanity has ever carried. Perhaps the universe has never remained silent because it was hiding an answer. Perhaps it has remained silent because there was never a question to begin with. It is the human mind that cannot endure this possibility. Faced with infinite silence, it invents meanings, destinies, and invisible designs, as though existence itself owed an explanation. But the silence never breaks. It only reflects our own desperate need to hear something. This is the loneliness hidden beneath consciousness. Not the loneliness of being physically alone, but the realization that no force beyond yourself is required to notice your existence. The stars continue to shine whether you rejoice or grieve. Oceans rise and fall without mourning the dead. Mountains remain unmoved by every tragedy written into human history, and death waits with the same quiet patience. One day, every ambition will vanish. Every fear that kept you awake will disappear. Every memory you fought to preserve will dissolve. The names you believed would be remembered forever will eventually fade into dust, just as countless names already have. The universe will not pause. The wind will still move through the trees. The sun will still rise over empty streets. The stars will continue burning across an endless sky that never needed witnesses. Perhaps that is the deepest silence of all. Existence goes on, untouched by our arrival and unchanged by our departure. The search for meaning has a peculiar cost. It quietly transforms life into an endless rehearsal for a moment that never arrives. Instead of living, you begin preparing to live. You tell yourself that everything will finally make sense after graduation. After you find the right partner. After you earn enough money. After you become the person you were meant to be. After one last achievement. One last answer. one last revelation. But every destination becomes another departure. Every finish line reveals another road. The future keeps borrowing the life that belongs to the present. While you wait, time continues its work without hesitation. Your parents grow older in ways you barely notice until one day, their faces seem unfamiliar. Your children stop asking you to play because they learned how to grow without your attention. Friends slowly disappear into different lives, different cities, different graves. The body you once ignored begins to speak in aches, scars, and limitations that cannot be negotiated. None of it pauses while you search. Existence never waits for understanding. The tragedy is not that life ends. The tragedy is how often it passes unnoticed, while the mind remains obsessed with decoding it. The hours spent chasing a final explanation cannot be reclaimed. The conversations postponed, the sunsets ignored, the embraces delayed in the name of a better tomorrow quietly become part of a past that no amount of reflection can recover. Perhaps that is the deepest irony of consciousness. The mind longs for a reason to live so intensely that it forgets to experience the only life it has. It keeps treating each day as a bridge towards some future certainty, never realizing that certainty never arrives. And in the end, after years of searching for the perfect answer, many discover only this: life did not disappear because meaning was missing. It disappeared because they spent too much of it searching for what they believed had to justify it. What if the emptiness was never a problem waiting to be solved? What if it was simply the natural shape of existence, long before the human mind decided it had to be filled? Perhaps life was never a puzzle scattered across the years, waiting for someone clever enough to assemble it. Perhaps there is no hidden message beneath suffering, no final revelation waiting at the end of the road, no moment when everything suddenly becomes clear. Perhaps we have mistaken uncertainty for failure. The desire for absolute meaning has consumed generations. Entire lives have been spent chasing invisible answers, believing that one final discovery would silence every doubt. Yet the silence always remained. Not because the search was incomplete, but because certainty was never part of the human condition. And maybe that is the only truth the universe has ever offered. No guarantees, no explanations, no promises. At first, this realization feels unbearable. The ground beneath every belief begins to disappear. But once the illusion of a hidden purpose fades, something unexpected remains. This moment, not because it carries cosmic significance, but precisely because it does not. A quiet conversation, a trembling embrace, a tear that cannot be explained. The first light of morning slipping through an empty window. The last goodbye that no one is ever prepared to say. None of these moments need an eternal purpose to possess immeasurable weight. Their value comes from their fragility. They exist only once before disappearing forever, just as we do. Perhaps meaning was never hidden somewhere beyond the horizon. Perhaps it never existed as something waiting to be found. And perhaps the greatest tragedy is not living in a universe without answers, but spending an entire lifetime digging for them. Because the person who devotes every waking day to searching for the meaning of life may never realize that, while digging for a reason to live, they were quietly burying the only life they were ever given. If this video gave words to thoughts you've never been able to explain, the best way to keep this journey alive is by supporting the channel. Becoming a member helps make more videos like this possible, gives you access to exclusive perks, and keeps this project growing. You can also use Super Thanks if you'd like to support a specific video. But honestly, you're already helping more than you think. Watching until the end, subscribing, and sharing these videos with someone who needs them means a great deal. And if this conversation resonated with you, there are more than 100 videos here waiting to challenge the way you see life.